What's going on, golf addicts? Welcome to Tour Junkies After Dark, presented by DraftKings and DraftKings Sportsbook. I'm your host, David Barnett of the Tour Junkies. I got Pat Perry with me, DB and PP. That's what we do. We just recorded our own podcast, the Tour Junkies podcast, which you can find everywhere and on YouTube as well. It's late. We've been drinking some adult bevs. You know what I mean? No free ads, so we're not going to tell you what. But it may rhyme with Ladka. And we've been talking a little bit 2021 AT&T Pebble Beach Pro-Am. We're here to talk about a few big names that have some controversy, around the Twitter street. Yeah, around the golf streets, and maybe some disagreement between me and Pat. And we're going to talk about some kind of our first look. This is late on a Monday night, our first look at the DraftKings Sportsbook early outright odds, names that we think you need to be looking at, pay attention to, jumping on early because they might get shorter. May talk a couple top 20s. We're going to have a good time. We like to keep it light, keep it fun. Betting on golf, great time. Got to give a major shout out to Pat, who nailed our second outright winner of 2021 just last week with Brooks Koepka winning the Waste Management. Pat talked him up at 50-1. Congratulations to you, sir, and to us. That's a team win, team victory.
It is. Any TJ victory is a team victory. And you know what? Like I said, on the show, you get a guy like Brooks Koepka at 50-1, an absolute stud. You got to hammer that line. And I did so last week, and it paid off for sure.
Yeah, and we hit Siwoo Kim a couple weeks ago at 66-1. So the outrights are moving and shaking. So many people betting on the Super Bowl, right? Which is fun to bet on. But, I mean, you're sweating, KC at minus 110 or 20, minus 130 maybe. I don't know what it were. I don't pay attention. And meanwhile, we're hitting golf bets at 50-1, 66-1. What are you doing? Let's bet on some golf. Let's talk about the AT&T Pebble Beach Pro-Am. Slightly different format this year. You can hear a bunch about that either on our channel on YouTube or Pat Mayo's talking about it. You can read about how we've eliminated one course this year. We're playing the Pebble Beach course, the Spyglass Hill course, how they're playing, how they're set up. We're not going to bore you with that tonight on TJ After Dark. Let's get straight to it. Pat, one Dustin Johnson is your favorite, your heavy favorite in the betting market, and he's $12K on DraftKings, which we have not seen a whole lot of $12K price names so far this season. But you got to pay up if you want to play DJ. And he is clearly head and shoulders the class of this field. You have Patrick Cantlay $700 cheaper than him in DFS. And I think the very first question that a lot of people playing DFS on DraftKings this week are going to ask themselves is, first of all, am I going to play DJ or am I not going to play DJ? And that's the question. He's coming off the win in Saudi Arabia, where he got a big payout just for showing up. Then he wins. Now he comes here to a course that, he's got a great history with. Great history at. Although the last couple years haven't been good. Something in my throat just died. I don't know what it was.
Maybe you just need to take a sip of that vodka.
That vodka. What do you think about DJ, Pat?
Well, I like DJ. I think he's a good kid. But you know what? I'm not gonna play DJ this week. I don't like that price at 12,000 coming across all the way from Saudi Arabia, even off of a victory. Look, when you're looking at your DFS lineups this week, if you put him in first at 12K, you have to drop down to the bottom 7K. I mean, it does not look good. It doesn't look
6K range is not good.
Yeah, and I don't like the 6K range either. So I think DJ I'm just out on him this week. And, you made a great point on the podcast about his history here is great. But you look at the last 2 years where he's come over from Saudi Arabia, because he's done that the last couple of years. It's not very good. It hasn't been very. And I'm not a big fan of the whole narrative of the travel narrative and things like that. But I do think it does come into play a little bit more on travel like this when you're coming from, all the way across the world. So I think that, I'm out on DJ. I just don't like how my lineups look when I plug him in as the first player up top there.
Yeah, so the last 2 years he's played the Saudi Arabia grab bag money grab event prior to playing Pebble. And he's come and he's finished T32 and T45 those last 2 years at Pebble. If you're going to pay $12K for DJ, you need him to do better than Dookie, because that's what he's been doing. So, play at your own risk. I think I'm out. You're out. Let's talk about another name. that got a lot of attention this past weekend, one Jordan Spieth, who shot a 61 on Saturday at the Waste Management. And everybody on Twitter, everybody's freaking out. Is Jordan back? Now, I don't want to get into whether we like Jordan in terms of like watching him come back and being good for the game, all that stuff, whatever. At the end of the day, he was number one in strokes gained approach at the Waste Management last week. The irons were fantastic. The putter was coming around. He had a pretty cold putter on Sunday that kept him out of it, but he still had a shot late on Sunday on the back nine. The off the tee game is mucho very bad. It is not good still. And it doesn't matter if he has driver in hand or he clubs down. He was horrible off the tee at the Waste Management. And now you got a big price jump. Here he is. What is he, like 9,300 on DraftKings? 9,700. Are you going to play? Are you going to play Jordan Spieth?
Not going to play Jordan Spieth. Now, look, I will say this. I think a lot of people probably will freak out about this price being so much higher than where he has been. Yeah. But when you look at the field in general, it's not like it's. I mean, we're having to pay 8,900 for Kevin Streelman, who I like.
Praise
but
God.
you got to stomach that. So like it's not like there's that big of a difference between what we were seeing Spieth and Streelman at. But I just don't think the price is something that I'm going to freak out about. But I am interested to see where Jordan Spieth, his ownership is this week. Like if he's pretty high owned, not going to play some Jordan. But if he's low owned, even at 9,700, there's a chance I may throw a little Jordan in there because look, he showed those flashes last week. He was top 10 here last year. When he was even in worse form than he is right now. So yeah. I don't know, and I think it could be a decent course for him. So if I get like low,
he played really well.
If I get like low ownership, like we've been seeing from him, then I'll probably throw him in a few lineups. But if he's high owned, nope, not going to do it.
I don't think we're going to see low owned Jordan. I think people are going to be ready to play him. We did have our own guest on our show, Colt Nost, who hosts Golf Subpar. He's a former PGA Tour player. He's on the ground at Pebble Beach. He's doing some broadcasting for, I think, CBS, PGA Tour stuff. Knows Jordan pretty well, friends with Jordan. We even asked Colt, do you think he's back? And Colt said, objectively, he's not all the way back. So there's still some trepidation there, even with Colt Nost. So question, in the comments, do you cheer for Jordan Spieth? Do you cheer for him or do you cheer against him? And give me a reason why or why not. One reason in the comments, why you cheer for Jordan or why you don't. While you're at it, hit the thumbs up if you don't mind. Subscribe to the DraftKings YouTube channel. We would appreciate it. All right, Pat, let's just get to the sportsbook plays, man. Let's take a look at some of these numbers. Give me kind of the shorter-ish names that are popping to you so far early here on a Monday night.
So the shortest guy I will take is Daniel Berger at 18-1. I don't mind that. You know that I am one that's not going to shy away from taking some of these shorter guys. So I like him at 18-1. I like Paul Casey also at 20-1. I think that's a decent bet as well. But my favorite there is Berger. So there you go.
Well, a name that I talked about on our show in terms of DFS that I'm kind of interested in jumping on is Jason Day. And Colt even brought him up as his potential outright at 30-1 right now on DraftKings. If he gets down to even 25-1, I think I'd still consider throwing something on him there as an outright. Obviously, he has a tremendous record here at Pebble Beach. And listen, he's started off 2021 not great. Miscut at the Farmers. He shook the rust off. A lot of guys in their first event back, and we even warned about that on our show. A lot of guys will do that. Their first event back, and it's not good. But last week of the Waste Management gained 2.5 strokes on approach in just the 2 rounds that he played because he missed the cut. So the irons were fantastic. But when you look at his record at AT&T, it's incredible. 4th place last year, 4th place in 2019, runner-up in 2018. 5th place in 2017, 11th place in 2016. Tell me when you want me to stop. 4th place in 2015. So, I mean, since 2015, he has 5 top 5s and an 11th place finish since 2015. Like, incredible record at the AT&T Pebble Beach Pro-Am. So, 30 to 1 right now and possibly 25 to 1 is very tasty for Jason Day. For that reason, I feel like I want to stop here and also say I think Will Zalatoris is overpriced. He's overpriced in the betting market on DraftKings. Currently, he's at 25 to 1, five points shorter than Jason Day right now. And I love Will Zalatoris, and he's got a lot of promise. But the kid hasn't quite found himself even in a final group, I don't believe, late on a Sunday on the PGA Tour trying to contend. And he comes to Pebble Beach, a place where history tends to matter more so than at other events on the PGA Tour. And he's shorter than Jason Day, and he's shorter than another guy I like Francesco Molinari. I think you like Molinari as well, who's
Yep.
moved from overseas to Los Angeles, familiarizing himself with West Coast, with POA. If Pebble Beach gets a little windy, a little gnarly, turns into kind of a grind sesh, which it has and can. I think Molinari's an interesting number there at 33 to 1. So those are kind of the shorter names I like.
Yeah, I'm with you there on Molinari. I think that 33 to 1 number is a good number. I also like Max Homa. He's at 55 to 1. He's a guy, another, you talk about Colt Nost and having him on the show. He loved some Max Homa. He plays with him a lot, and the guy is super talented. He's been playing extremely well lately. He's had a few bad rounds on Sunday when he's been in contention lately, but I do like Max Homa at 55 to 1. Also like Brian Harmon at 70 to 1. I think he's just one of those guys. This is sort of a good course fit for him, not terribly long off the tee, which you don't have to be here, good ball striker, good iron player. I like him as well. And then James Hahn also at 70 to 1. He is another one that I like this week in the DraftKings Sportsbook. So, and he's been in pretty good form as well.
I'll add in that 50 range, at 55 to 1, I believe right now. Let's make sure. Yeah, 55 to 1, Hendrik Norlander. And I see this number getting shorter as well. Hendrik's a friend of ours. We just had him on our podcast a couple of weeks ago, and he said this: I actually play better 3, 4, 5, 6 events in a row. He likes playing a lot of golf and feels like he gets better. 90% of the players that we've talked to in the last 5 or 6 years have said the opposite, that after about 3 events, they start to kind of fail and get, they need a break. Hendrik's saying no, and his play right now is kind of showing that he's getting better and better. I mean, 12th at the American Express, runner up, should have won, could have won the Farmers. Actually, no, he could have won it because Patrick Reed ran away with it. But runner up at the Farmers, T22 last week at the Waste Management. Now he comes to a course that honestly suits him better than any of those. He's not super long, but he's one of the best iron players in this field. So he can come and attack these very small greens. Pebble is known for small greens, and I think that puts even more of a premium and a weight on guys that hit it really accurately with their irons, because they're going to have more putts at it. They're not going to be getting up and down and scrambling. So I love that with Norlander, and he's gotten increasingly better at Pebble Beach since he's played it. He missed the cut his first time out, finished 72nd the next time, 70th after that, 39th after that, and last year finished 25th. Progressively getting familiar with Pebble Beach and trending nicely right now too in form. So I love him at 55 to 1. Then I'm going to kind of get into the long shots, the bombs, the triple digits. Now, Pebble has produced a lot of shorter winners, like Jordan's won here, Brandt Snedeker, Phil, when they won, not Jason Day. Who's another one? Jimmy Walker was kind of short when they won, that 28 to or shorter range. But there's also been a ton of guys win at big numbers. Your defending champ, Nick Taylor, won last year at like 160 to 1. Ted Potter Jr., if you're like, who? Yeah, Ted Potter Jr. won here at 500 to 1. Local Augusta boy with us, Vaughn Taylor, won at 300 to 1. So you have years where it can get wild, and there's some bombs that can win. And I think you got to start with our buddy Joel Damon at 100 to 1. We just had his caddy on who said this is going to be a great week for Joel. Despite the miscut last week, he hates TPC Scottsdale. Joel hates that golf course, okay? Now he comes to a place that I think he enjoys playing, and he thinks he's got a good chance. And I think he could break through and get his first PGA Tour victory here. So I like Joel at 100 to 1. I like Rafa Cabrera Bello coming over from the European Tour. Hasn't played any PGA Tour events. I think that might keep some people off of him, maybe keep the number long. But he's played okay on the European Tour, the few top 30s or top 35s maybe in the last few weeks. And I feel like this is a good spot for him, kind of a grinder course for Rafa. Finally, I'm going to go with Mark Hubbard at 125 to 1 as well. Hubbard and Cabrera Bello are also 3.5 to 1 in the top 20 market, which I think is interesting. Hubbard absolutely loves this place. He got engaged on a green at Pebble Beach. He said he's played these courses 40 to 50 times. He's coming off a Waste Management where I think he finished like T30, but he was your first round leader. He shot 8 under. He can get nuclear hot when he's confident. And this is a better course for him than Scottsdale. He's not a super long hitter. So he gets Pebble. I think 125 to 1 for Hubbard, who has contended on the PGA Tour, down the stretch. I think that's a good number.
Yeah, I mean, I'm okay with that. I think, when you look at some of these long shots too, you want to take guys that are just, literally the perfect course fit, that they aren't necessarily, when you look at most of the courses on the PGA Tour, a lot of them are much longer than we're going to see this week. And that's why I think there's so many guys that come into play and why you get some of these long shots. And a guy like, for instance, Chris Kirk, he's at 100 to 1. We saw him at the Sony Open play extremely well in another kind of short course where you got to be a great ball striker, great approach play. I like him. He's at 100 to 1. I like Scott Stallings. He's another guy that can't compete on almost like every course on tour, but he can compete here, and he's shown that. I mean, he missed the cut last year, but before that, he had a couple top tens in a row with a third place finish. I think that was in 2019, and so he's contended here. So you get Stallings at 100 to 1 with some win equity. I like that also. And then another guy, this is sort of a long shot for me, but I've seen him a lot shorter on some other books, and I've also when you look at where his DK price, where his DraftKings pricing is at 7,100. He's at much longer odds than where you would think it would be, and that's Nate Lashley at 250 to 1. I like that also as sort of a long shot play. So there you go. Those are my my triple digits, as you like to say.
I got a couple top 20s that I think you just, if you like betting the top 20, these are bombs for top 20s. Both of these guys are 8 to 1 currently on DraftKings. But again, I talked about how Pebble is a place where course history seems to matter more so than a lot of courses on the PGA Tour. Brian Gay, who I think you mentioned on our show, he's 400 400 to 1 to win outright, but he's 8 to 1 in the top 20 market. Brian Gay has 4 top 20s in his last 7 tries at this golf tournament, and 2 in the last 3 years. Brian Gay also just won out of nowhere back in the fall. I mean, 8 to 1 is a top 20. That's an interesting number. Another guy who loves West Coast events, who hits it way further than Brian Gay. So if you're going with a bomber narrative, Brian Gay is a very, very short hitter, is JB Holmes, who absolutely dominates at Pebble Beach. Finished 14th here last year, 11th in 2016, 10th in 2015, runner-up in 2010. So he's got some top 10, top 20 history here as well. Hasn't played great so far to start 2021, but this is a place where, some magic can happen for JB Holmes. He's also 400 to 1 to win outright and 8 to 1 as a top 20.
I'll add one more top 20 here, and this is the local boy for us, but we've seen him play well on the West Coast, and that is Scott Brown. He's at 10 to 1. I think this is a good course for him. I think, last week at the Waste Management, he had a lot of birdies his first couple rounds, and he missed the cut, I think, but he still had a lot of birdies. He just has to get rid of the big numbers. Yeah. I think at 10 to 1 for a top 20, I think that's pretty good there on Scott Brown.
Love it. That's TJ After Dark, presented by DraftKings for the 2021 AT&T Pebble Beach Pro-Am. Don't forget, hit the like button, give it a thumbs up, comment about your thoughts on Jordan Spieth. I'm interested to see those. And, hit you some bets. May your screens be green. We'll see you next week. See ya.
Oh!